My lords and ladies, it's pastry week! I hate making pastries. I promised something really special for pastry week. I invented something called peacock pie. And no, it doesn't have peacock in it. The reason I named it peacock pie is because it was sort of a play on the word pecans. Some people call it pecan, some people call it pecan, pecan. I didn't want to offend anyone on national television, so I decided to just call it peacock pie. Also because, you know, peacocks have all these colorful feathers. I have all these colorful fruits in my peacock pie. Not that of a peacock, but you know, it's kind of like a pecan pie filling with a lot of different fruits in it. And it has a bourbon chocolate chili crust, so that the cocoa and the chili sort of offsets the sweetness of the filling. It's really good, if I say so myself. First, I'm going to get started on my pie crust so it could chill in the freezer while I get my filling ready.
I have in my mixer some plain flour, icing sugar, and cold butter. I'm going to add some cayenne pepper to give it a kick.
That's strong.
Now I'm adding some ice cold bourbon that I kept in the freezer, a little bit of ice water, and some lemon juice. In go the egg yolks, and I'm going to give it a blitz. I'm just going to grab a handful and put it to the side so I can make my decorations. Now I'm adding some cocoa powder and I'm going to give it another blitz. I don't want to overwork the dough, so I'm going to stop it here. I'm wrapping up my dough in cling film so I could chill it in the freezer. I like to flatten it out a little bit so that it'll be easier for me to roll out later. Now I can move on to the filling. I have here some dried figs, craisins, dried apricots, and mixed peel, and to it I'm going to add some green apple. The reason I'm adding some green apple is because it has a lot of pectin, and it'll help thicken my pie. Also, because green apples are tart, it'll help balance out the sweetness of the filling.
I've taken my bourbon chocolate chili dough out of the freezer. It's not hard, but it's still cold. I'm gonna roll it and then stick it back into the freezer.
Instead of using extra flour, I like to roll out my dough in between 2 sheets of wax paper or parchment paper. It tends to slide around a little bit, so what I like to do is tuck the paper between myself and the counter, and it'll hold it steady.
I'm working up a sweat. Don't like making pastries. It's too much work. Rolling out the dough. Almost there.
Just crimping the edges.
One more thing, do not touch the chili dough and then touch your eye, because that does not feel good. I'm gonna go stick this in the freezer real quick. Alright, it's out of the freezer. I'm gonna dock it, meaning just poking holes.
This is just to let the steam out while it's baking so it doesn't puff up in the oven.
I'm also going to add some baking beans to it to weigh it down. She's flying to the oven! Yes, they do fly. Interesting fact, we used to have a couple of peacocks when I was little, and one flew up into the willow tree, like not into the willow tree, but up on the toppest branch, and it took ages to get her down. And here I have some butter, light brown sugar, and golden syrup. I'm gonna go melt this real quick.
This mixture here is some plain flour, vanilla bean paste, salt, and bourbon. It's a lot easier to just combine this now separately before adding it to the hot mixture. This will also help thicken the pie mixture. It was important to me that the pie held its shape and didn't fall apart. Now I'm just whisking some eggs so I could slowly add the hot mixture to it. I'm making sure to temper it and add it slowly so I don't scramble the eggs. Now I can add all of my chopped fruits and fold in the pecans. I've blind baked my pie crust, so now I'm adding my filling. This is going to go back into the oven until I'm ready to top it with decorations. Now I'm rolling out more dough to make my decorations.
I have here a little peacock template I made. Doesn't really look like a peacock right now, but it will. I'm gonna go stick this in the freezer too because it's a lot easier to cut this out when it's cold.
The dough is firm now, so I'll get nice clean cuts using the template. These are flames coming out of the peacock's mouth, just to indicate that there's a little bit of heat in this pie.
Kind of looks like chicken feet right now, but it's not. Because it's spicy, the peacock is blowing out fire. It's warning people. About a month after I came up with this recipe, I was watching this documentary on Tudor feasts. They actually had something called a peacock pie. Now it actually had peacocks in it, but the crazy thing is, it was served with the peacock's head and the body on top of the pie, and when they were presenting it, they lit the beak on fire. Isn't that crazy? Oh. I may be from the Tudor era.
Now I don't normally like to use food coloring, but I'm just using a touch of it to bring this peacock to life. I just used a very small amount and diluted it with some bourbon, just because that's what I had. I'm going to very carefully add this to the top of my pie and bake it for another 20 minutes.
This is my peacock pie. If you'd like to know what I make for the showstopper, I'll be posting that soon.